Hi, welcome back to the workshop for the second episode in the precision base build. Last time we prepared a set of templates, so they're all ready to go. So in this episode I'll be cracking on and we'll start to get the body built. Okay, so let's make a start. So the first thing I want to do is make a start on the body. The basis of all guitar building is the centre line. It's absolutely pivotal in pretty much anything you do. So I'm going to start by getting a centre line on this body blank. Okay, and now we need to attach the template. Now this template is going to have to come on and off a number of times. Now I could just double-sided tape this on, but that does introduce a problem in so much as it's difficult to then get it back exactly where you had it before. So to combat that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw it in position. And there's a couple of places where I can do that without any fear of causing problems later on. So what I've done is I've put a hole where one of the bridge screws is going to go, and I've put a hole where one of the neck screws is going to go, and I'm going to use those two screw holes to locate this every time I need to use this template on the job. So I'm just going to line that up on the centre line. Put a couple of screws in. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is just cut it into a guitar shape. So I'm literally just going to draw around with a pencil and take the template off again. And get that to the bandsaw. Okay, so that's the shape roughed out. As you saw, I cut the bulk of the waste away on the bandsaw, and then took it to the disc sander to just kind of get a little bit closer to the line that we want. And then in this little area here, I had to get it on the spindle sander because I couldn't get that little profile onto my bandsaw. So from here, the next step is to get the template back on it, and then we'll get it onto the router table and just run the router around this to clean up exactly to the line that we want. Okay, so this has to rank as one of my least favourite parts of guitar making, and it is shaping the body outline on the table router. There's all sorts of things that can go wrong here. However, I'm hoping that my latest purchase, it's not plugged in, don't worry, of a 4-flute router cutter will help me in this endeavour. So this is a Radian 4-flute router cutter. I've heard great things of them. So I'm going to have to strap on my big boy trousers and hopefully this will turn out all right. Okay, still far from my favourite part of guitar making, but that was actually a lot better. So let's just have a quick look, see how we've done. So there we have the basic shape. That cutter has done a lovely job. It's still going to need a little bit of sanding to get it absolutely spot on, but it's way better than the finish I've ever had from any other cutter in the past. It's probably worth pointing out as well that my table router setup isn't the best, so there's probably a little bit of movement between the router and the table that could be introducing a little bit of chatter that's not giving me the greatest finish in the world. But you know, I'm kind of selling this short. It's a very quick sand away from being brilliant. The next process I'm going to tackle is to start to get these control cavities routed out. Now in this particular build, these cavities are actually at 3 different depths. There's the main cavity for the controls, which is about 34mm deep. There's the pickup routes, which are about 20mm deep, and then there's a channel that runs between them, which is 10mm deep. Now I could just get away with the pickup routes and the control route and drill a hole through for the pickup wires, but I figured now I've made my template this way, I might as well do the routing. But obviously having them at different levels creates an issue of how we go about the transitions between those levels. So what I've done is I've made a little insert that will actually go into my template like that, and that will give me the stops that I need in these areas to route deeper. Okay, so the first step is to remove this again and just draw around where I need my routes to be with a pencil. And now that I've got that marked out, I can take this to the drill press and start to hog out some of this material with a Forstner bit. Okay, so I've just cleared the bulk of the waste out on the drill press. Now this looks a bit raggy, but this will all clean up with the router beautifully. I've actually taken it down to 3 different depths. I've gone down about 25mm in this section, 15mm in the pickup, and about 5-ish mil in the little channel between them. And the reason I've done that, I've left it a little bit short so that I can clean out the little marks from the centre of the Forstner bit with the router when I get down to the correct depth. So what I'm going to do now is reattach the template, and I'm going to take my first pass at about 5mm and clean out everything. I'm then going to go down to about 10mm, which is the depth of this centre channel, clean the whole thing again down to that depth. Then I'll insert my little stop block and take the other 2 bits to their final depth. Okay, and there we have all the routing done for the controls and the pickups, etc. And that's gone really well. It's routed out really nicely. They're all very nice and clean. They just need a little bit of a tickle up with a bit of sandpaper. Okay, so the next element of this that I need to tackle is that the Precision base, very much like the Stratocaster, isn't a slab body with square corners. It's got quite a heavy round over on both the front and the back, but of course it's got the arm comfort cut and the belly cut on the back. So that's the next bit I'm going to tackle. I'm going to start with the contour on the top. And to do that, I'll need my template again. I'm not going to screw it on. It's not absolutely massively precise for this job. Now I've marked, you might just be able to see it, I've marked the line of the contour cut on the template. So I'm just going to put a couple of tick marks onto the body. Then just strike a line with a straight edge. Now what I'm also going to do is that according to the plan, this cut should be about 22 millimeters from the back of the guitar. So I'm just going to quickly mark with a gauge that dimension and put a bit of pencil in it, like that. So this cut here is actually a simple radius, so it doesn't curve in that direction. It only curves in that direction, and it's the shape of the body that kind of makes it blend away. So to start this off, all I'm going to do is take a Shinto saw rasp and start to cut this away until I get somewhere near where it needs to be. Okay, so that's the arm cut, rough sanded in. It could probably do with a little bit more sanding a bit later on, but I'm quite happy with the shape of that for now. Obviously, once I put the radius in, we're going to have to blend that in to match as well. But for now, that's good. So the next bit is to put the belly cut in the back. And I've never done one of these before. So I'm not going to risk messing it up. I'm actually going to go back to the plans and make a couple of more tracings just so I know exactly how I'm going to go about this. Okay, so I've made a tracing. I didn't bother doing the whole thing, I just did the top half and put some centre lines on so it'll line up properly. And then I've literally just transferred those marks onto the back of the body. It's very faint at the moment, you probably won't pick that up, but I'll darken that up now and then we can get to carving. Okay, so that's all marked in now, and I'm just going to go about this the same way as I did on the front with the Shinto saw rasp, get as much of the material out with that as I can, and then proceed to clean it up with the sander. Okay, so that's the bulk of the waste taken out there with the saw rasp. I also used a spoke shave a little bit to try and clean it up. Not really sure how successful that was. That's pretty much where it needs to be at this stage of the game. It will take a little bit of sanding just to get that all nicely smoothed out. But that is a workout. That is hard work. I'm panting like a fat Labrador here. So now what I need to do is to get the sander on it, and I'm going to go in with a 60 grit disc, which is really, really coarse, and that will help to just level all of that roughness out. Okay, so there's the belly carve kind of in place. It's difficult to see from that angle. It's still going to need a little bit of work. There's a couple of little lumps and bumps in there that will need working out. But for what we want at the moment, I think this is fine. So the next job is to break out the router again and get the round over onto the front and back edges of the body. Okay, so I'm happy enough with that now to move forward. I might have to kind of refine it a little bit as we get into the finishing stages, but for what we need right now, it's spot on. So the next bit is to get the roundovers on, and I'm using a Stratocaster as a reference model for this, as they are kind of very similar. And I'm simply going to take the biggest roundover bit that I've got and go around the edges with it. So what I'm going to do is go around this in 3, maybe 4 passes. And as you can see, there's hardly any cutter extending beyond the base here. And I find that the secret to working with the router. If you take multiple small passes, you'll avoid damage most of the time. Okay, so that's the roundovers done. I've deliberately stopped short of the neck pocket. These will probably blend right in to where the neck pocket is, but I'm not going to cut that just yet. If any of you saw the Telecaster build that I did, I made a custom neck pocket template, which will ensure me an absolutely perfect fit for the neck, but I can't really do that until I've got a little bit further along with the actual neck build itself. So I'm going to leave that for now, and then once that neck pocket is routed out, I can blend these roundovers into it. So for now, we couldn't obviously route where we've just put these contours in. So I'm going to have to do those by hand. So I'm going to get those in the vise and just use the saw rasp to put that radius in manually. Shouldn't really take too long. Okay, and there we have it. That's pretty much all of the body work I can get done at the moment. I'm really pleased with that. This ash it's hard and it's heavy, but it cuts and works beautifully. So all of the routes are super clean, and the roundover is really nice as well. All needs a sand, all needs cleaning up, and just all of these transitions blending in to kind of give it that sculptural shape that you associate with a P-base or a Stratocaster body, say. But I'm really happy with the way the contours have come out on the back and on the arm relief there. So yeah, happy days. That was a really good few hours work. I would say in total we're probably 4 or 5 hours from the body blank to getting it to this state now. So in the grand scheme of things, not bad at all. I think to kind of get the last body I made to this sort of a stage was probably a month's work. So this is brilliant. Okay, I'm going to call time on this episode now. I think we've made some amazing progress on this one. I'm really happy that we've been able to get to this stage on the build quite so early on. This is actually not nearly as heavy as I thought it was going to be. Now we've cut a lot of the material away, so that's another bonus. So I'm going to be back in a couple of days with the next instalment where I start work on the neck. So ensure you don't miss out on that. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you've hit the bell icon as well so you get the notifications, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.